The phone rang, and I was disoriented. It's like that moment when you fall asleep during the day, then wake up at night, thinking you missed an entire day. I didn't know what time it was, what day it was, where I was. But I slept around on the nightstand until I felt the brick buzzing and lighting up and displaying a restricted number. It was 2:22 in the morning, but despite any gut feeling and sudden alarms going off in my head, I answered the call. I'm not one for enunciation in the middle of the night, so I'm sure I sounded something like that. My tongue was dry and my mouth was tacky, so the caller would just need to deal with it. Good morning, Mr. Blake, and thank you for speaking with me. This will only be a 15 to 20 minute phone screen for the position. I shut up, startled by the clear, cheerful tone. There was something sinister, a down-tuned sound just behind the voice, just at the edge of my hearing. I could feel it. I'd like to begin by discussing your experience a bit, if that's all right. I sat there. The phone was plastered to my ear. I wasn't groggy anymore. I heard what he said. I sat there. Are you still on the line? Some rustling of papers, then the sound of metal screeching and grinding against metal. It made my teeth throb. Okay, it appears you are... What? So, Mr. Blake, it says here that you are not particularly religious, is that correct? I don't... Who is this? Mr. Blake, there will be plenty of time for your own questions soon enough. But for now, let's keep the focus on you. You are not religious? The religious probing, strangely, put me at ease. This was some witness or Bible telemarketer that just happened to screw up the time zones. It's 2 in the fucking morning right now. I have work tomorrow. Can you just take me off your list? You're saying that you do not wish to be considered for the position. He sounded disappointed. I don't even know what fucking position you're talking about! I was screaming into my phone. And it was a wonder my son hadn't woken up to pop his little head in, or that my wife, sleeping like a rock beside me, hadn't moved once. Not even stirred. She had a knack for pretending to sleep when she didn't want to deal with late night issues. Sir, Mr. Blake, there is no need to use such profanity. If this isn't something you feel comfortable answering, we can move on. But I can't promise your uncooperative attitude won't be taken into consideration. He flipped the switch on the cheery voice, sounding like a saturating caricature of what the word nice even means. Shall we continue? No. I hung up the phone and put it back down on the nightstand, closing my eyes, but unable to settle. My mind was swimming. Late night thoughts, insomnia, worry. They've been shadows in the corner of every room I've tried to sleep in for years. The call didn't help. Mr. Blake, I really have other people I need to be speaking with. What the... I grabbed the phone and powered on the screen. Nothing. There was nothing indicating a call was in progress. But there was the voice, leaking from the speakers. Or was it leaking from the room itself now? What are you? My name is Mitchell, and I am moving on to the next topic. Mr. Blake, how often do you think about dying? Mitchell's voice was normal again. save for that dark feeling, like a sinking chill down my spine. Do you want to die? Well, no, I couldn't stop. I suppose I don't want to die, but... Mitchell cut me off. This time he wasn't so cheerful. Then you might be the candidate we're looking for. Ice. The words cut like a brightening frost. Last question. Would you kill? I don't know. Tears welled up in the corners of my eyes for what felt like no reason at all. The question itself knocked the wind out of me. And suddenly, I knew why I was being interviewed. The pills, the failed overdose, my latest attempt at suicide. It had been an application. A life for a life. Well, Mr. Blake, this phone screen has been going on a bit longer than I anticipated, so please check your email regularly. We will be in contact. Have a good night, or I guess it's morning. Mitchell laughed good-naturedly and hung up the phone to the sound of shrieking violins. The room brightened a bit, or at least I thought it did. Danielle finally stirred. What's wrong, hon? She sounded apprehensive. Waking up to your husband sitting up in bed at nearly 3 a.m. would do that to a person. But I looked at the clock. 2:23. Did you not hear me on the phone? My eyes adjusted, and I could see hers widen. Your phone's downstairs, Nick. I didn't think I needed to bring it up when I came to bed. She turned on the bedside lamp, and we both immediately shielded our eyes. Eventually, she looked up and finished her thought. You're not holding anything, babe. She was laughing. I wasn't. But I couldn't justify an explanation in my head besides a nightmare. I dreamt the phone call. I dreamt Mitchell. I dreamt the hooves that had been barely visible, standing in that spot of moonlight on the carpet. So, after some fits and starts, we were both back asleep. Morning came to save me from the dark. I woke up at 7 a.m., feeling like death, but glad to see the sun. My head swam as I moved like a robot through my routine, making it to the kitchen for pancakes with the little man before Mummy drove him off to school, and I left for a day of wearing a tie and not doing much else. I found my phone sitting innocently enough on the coffee table. There were, as I expected, a few emails, but nothing recent in the call log. Work email, junk, LinkedIn invite. Reply. Follow up with Mr. Nick Blake regarding the position. Open. Good morning, Mr. Blake. I am happy to inform you that after our rather unorthodox phone screen, you have still been chosen as a candidate to move on to the second round of interviews. This interview will be in person, so please give me your availability and I will try my best to stick to it when I drop by again. I look forward to speaking with you further. Mitchell Oren Starr, founder-CEO. So, have you ever thought about dying?